However, first place in the tournament is worth 120 points. So at the end of the tour, he is at a total of 155 points. Good enough for 5th place. And here are the top 16 players in the tournament. So, who is going to be Clutch's opponent in the first round? Well, let's just say it's an old rival with a score to settle with him. Now that Vlas has finally been able to get his opportunity against Clutch, he is looking to finish business this time. So without delay, let's see how the grudge match went. Game 1, Mirror Aggro Nature matchup, with Vlas-kill going first. Now, before we continue, there is something I want to preface. I know that nowadays Aggro Nature is one of the weakest archetypes that you can come across, and it gets farmed by pretty much every other archetype. However, back in the day, Flourish Aggro Nature was a force to be reckoned with. Look at this god power. 1 mana, give +1 strength, and 1 regen until the end of your turn. Early Divine Order days were crazy. Anyways, back to the game. Vlas-kill will come out with one of the strongest starts you can have, Marshwalker and Shield Bearer combo, but Clutch would answer early as well. And despite clearing Clutch's Jaguar, Clutch would top deck a second Canopy Barrage and clear the board. And as with almost all aggro matches, the game was pretty much over from here. Clutch would hold on to the board until he had lethal. Clutch is up, 1-0. Game 2, Aggro Light versus Flourish Nature, with Clutch going first of course. And despite trying every trick in the book to regain control of the board, Clutch's Aggro Light will lose by turn 6. A fairly straightforward match. Series tied 1-1. Game 3 would be Aggro Light versus Viking War, with Clutch going second. Despite being on the back foot due to going second, Clutch will be able to reclaim board and hold on. And with Vlas pretty much only able to play whatever he was top decking, you can say this was a convincing win for Clutch. Or was it? game crashed during a tournament. So what do you do? Well, here's what Copper had to say.
Okay, so I believe the game froze here completely, and I got screenshots from both of them. Yeah, it shut down, and it didn't count as a win or a loss, and they asked me what to do. Vlas-kill was out of mana, and so he couldn't do anything else on his turn. Next turn, I asked him if he didn't have Clutch didn't have lethal, but he would have left Vlas-kill with 2 health left, or even 1 maybe with the Sanctum. And ultimately, I then asked Vlas-kill if he was playing a Carnage Sweep. And if he was not playing Carnage Sweep, is there any other way that he could clear the board? And he said no. So therefore, I did award this win to Clutch. Don't like doing it. Really felt sick about it, but I mean, everybody in chat's agreeing here. That was a win for Clutch. Easy. Should be a win for Clutch.
Yeah, it's unfortunate these things happen, and we're definitely working.
Clutch goes up 2-1. On to game 4. Clutch's Sleep Deception versus Vlas's Card Draw Magic. A very unfavorable matchup due to Magic's reach compared to Deception's limited healing. Clutch loses this one, though he did decide to try and gamble with Avaraxis. But he just ends up killing himself with it. Yeah, Avaraxis endings were a lot more common back in the day. And just killing yourself with it was also the most common outcome. Anyway, series tied 2-2. Final game, Game 5. A mirror Sleep Deception matchup, with Clutch picking the Flip God Power. Yes, I know, that's not a real God Power. But remember, back in the day, the meta was a little different. It was common knowledge that Sleep Deception was favored if you picked the Flip God Power, the Draw 2, Shuffle 2. So whenever you see it, don't be confused. It was considered quite the strong God Power for this archetype at the time.
Are you serious?
Yes, I'm serious. And this match would be one of the longest matches in the tournament, because one of the main win conditions is to play Jason, then toast to piece it. So it would return to your hand, then you play it again. And hopefully you can play like 4 Jasons in one game. Now, here's where the game's tide would turn. Clutch playing the Avatar of War and Vlas sleeping it. But with Valka's presence in the Sanctum, well, he gets woken and does a lot of damage. He knew. But watch this sequence right here. Vlas is at 21 health, Clutch hits with the Relic, hits the Avatar of War, and fires 2 Vows of Champions at him. And Clutch wins the game. Except he doesn't, because that's a visual health bug. Again, quite common back in the day. Anyways, the match goes on. And with no choice left but to play Therio's Anvil, Vlas' fate was sealed and Clutch moves on. Now keep in mind, this was just the first round, and it was a 5-game thriller. But we still need to see the round of 8, the semifinals, and the finals. And as for round 8, it would be against one of the all-time greats, Caution Fun. And of course, Caution needs no introduction, but as the holder of the most weekend ranked titles and the first player to ever hit 1800 MMR, it is safe to say that he is one of the favorites to win the whole thing. In fact, he has the longest reign of dominance in the whole game. So as you would expect, he casts a shadow over pretty much everyone else. But enough with the introductions. Let the game begin. Game 1. Clutch would cue board-wide death into Caution's aggro nature. Now, normally this is a 90-10 matchup, and board-wide death normally just farms a nature. But remember, this is Caution Fun. So let's see how it goes. Well, the match would go as you would expect. Build board, sleep, board wipe. Build board, sleep, board wipe. Frustrated, Caution would just throw in the towel. But here's something interesting. Look at Clutch's hand. He had no sleep and no more board wipes. Even the commentators seemed a little confused on the quick concede.
Yeah, I mean, he can APOC now, and oh, I feel so bad for Caution, but Caution can't see into Clutch's hands. Clutch didn't have any win conditions. I'm not saying that Caution was going to win that by any stretch of the imagination, but I mean, he's got to be at least 10% still there. 5%. Yeah. I mean, you still have some outs. You're not 100% dead, and this is for the final 4 of the tour. I mean, do you concede there?
Yeah.
Especially if you could see Clutch's hands, do you concede there?
No.
Yeah.
Even if I don't know if I concede during tournament play, unless it's like I have 1 HP and he's swinging at my face.
Yeah.
Anyways, on to game 2. Flourish Nature versus Viking War. Here, despite going first, Clutch would have some poor early draws and would lose the board early. And with the speed of aggro decks back in the day, there were very few comebacks from here. Series tied 1-1. Game 3. Flourish Nature versus Zoo Light. Once again, Clutch goes first. I think that's like 3 games in a row he's gone first. Anyway, Caution loses board by turn 4, and the game is pretty much over by then. With a 6-wide board and Frenzied Cyclops, Clutch has the total advantage. And in this position, Caution concedes. Clutch leads 2-1. A win here, and Clutch will move on to the semifinals. Game 4. Clutch's Zoo Light versus Caution's Flourish Nature. An unfavorable matchup, but for the third time in a row, Clutch goes first. In the first few turns, Caution is able to completely clear Clutch's board, and from here, his lead just builds. And by 5 mana, Clutch's Zoo Light finds itself with no board against Nature's full board. Eventually, he concedes. Series tied, 2-2. Fifth and final game. Winner advances. Let's go. A mirror Zoo Light matchup, with Clutch going first, of course. Well, the RNG gods are really on his side today. By 5 mana, he has a 5-wide board with a Highborn Knight in front. And despite Caution doing what he can to fight back, including Radiant Dawning 1 minion, it was an impossible task. And just like that, the tournament's biggest favorite was out. So, after taking out the likes of Vlas-kill and Caution Fun, you would think that the path forward would be easier. Oh my, how wrong you are. You see, that was only the round of 16 and the round of 8. The semifinals would be even more difficult. It would put Clutch up against another one of the strongest favorites in the whole tournament. A player that has won 2 out of the 5 tournaments. It's none other than the mighty Alduck.